Hi guys, and welcome to the second week of PEL. I'm Toby. I had the pleasure of casting these games, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna take you through them in here as well, because I got a lot of feedback from viewers saying that it was nice that I was being very analytical, and even then, I felt like there were things that happened that maybe I wanted to talk about at the time, or maybe I didn't feel like the analyst desk broke down as much as I would have wanted to. So now we get to do it again. And it's nothing against. I mean, I believe me, I've done analyst desk a couple of times, and there's you can have a list of 30 things you want to talk about, and you only get to talk about 5 because you have so little time. So it's nothing against analyst desks. It's just there were things that I maybe wanted to talk about that wasn't talked about, and now we get a chance to. So let's go straight into the first game. It's pretty straightforward. Northern Plain. One thing to notice, we can draw that up. We'll draw it up real quickly first. We have a team called N47. It looks a little like a bone. Like they just go anywhere south normally. They'll loot the southern side. Makes perfect sense too. And this plane obviously is not really the greatest plane for a southern loot. You can see them out here. They'll go south. Then you have a team in DA who likes to go Los Leones. Not exactly the best plane for that either. You see them up there. Then you have a team that likes to loot this area, sometimes a little bit of Chumacero too. That's Gamer Legion. Not exactly the best plane. They're up there. And then you have Face that like looting Monte Nuevo. They're all the way up here. Navi, they've been splitting the southern side. They go Chumacero, La Coparilla as well though, so it's not the biggest issue for them. But as we can see, a lot of teams, this is the very first game of the week. A lot of teams are forced to loot elsewhere than somewhere else than where they normally would, which can cause a bit of a tricky situation. But we'll see if it has any impact. Now, circle pops, and as D-Man very correctly said during the games as well, it pretty much popped at the end of the plane. Imagine the plane goes like this. The circle pops here. So two things that creates is for the team. You can see. I mean, I think N47 they just landed. Because they jumped out so late, right? They just landed, and now they see the circle. So there's no point, obviously, for them to drive all the way to Val del Mar. They'll stay on the southern side, get themselves looted. Same thing with other teams that might have wanted to split up to military, that might have wanted to do something around that. Might as well just stick around. There's really no reason to do anything else than just chill and get looted where you are. So we'll let the first circle go on through. Again, I know some of you guys have really liked the when I draw up like the rotate through here, don't rotate through there. Do you want me to keep doing this? I'm obviously not gonna do it on every circle, but do you want me to keep doing those things? I know some people really think it's useful. You can let me know in the YouTube channel, just comments as well. Some people really appreciate that. Some kind of figure it out on their own, and that's actually the reason I do it. I don't want to do it so that you can always look at the video and say, ooh, Toby is now gonna tell me where they can rotate from and where they can't. I want you guys to look at it and at least try to understand what I say when I draw it up, so that now, for example, you can sit and do it. We can talk about it right here. Guys in the chat, is there any place that you can say already now, that's gonna get a red line if you draw it just on this circle? I kind of helped out. I'll draw the first one for you. Nobody's going to rotate through San Martin. I can tell you that already. Other than NIP obviously don't count because they're there already. You have no clue? Any place on here where you think, I don't think I'm going to see a team rotating through that. I can help you out with the fact that the plane was way up here to begin with. Do you guys think a team would rotate through Los Leones? That's not going to happen. This is an option. It's going to take a long time. It's going to crossroads north of Hacienda. We're talking here. That is actually one of those. It's funny, right? Because you don't want to drive around like this whole area here is you never go in here unless if you know the circle is up there. Then you can sit tight in the in whatever area there is up here. But like, as dangerous as this area is, a lot of people actually do come down this way. It's very open, which means that teams won't be really close to you. The issue with driving in the valleys, like the scary valleys, is that you can be here, like you can be in a car here and not know that there's a full team sitting on the hillside there. Whereas if you're driving here, sure, there could be a random guy behind a hay bale, but who would be there this early on in the game? So you will have, I mean, where here your buffer zone is only this far up on both sides. Why do I keep drawing these things? It's, God damn it. It's only this far up on both sides. I keep doing it. And over here, your buffer zone is maybe more like this. So you have so much more room of, like your safety net is so much bigger when you drive in the open than when you drive in those type areas. So actually you'd see surprisingly many teams go down here. What they do from here then can be very different. But this area alone is not really that scary to go through. Hacienda though, as we said, San Martin as well. Don't anticipate anyone to be coming through there. Interested in seeing what Knights will do. Probably, I actually don't remember exactly what they did in the first rotation. I mean, again, when we're casting the game, there are so many things to talk about, right? Los Leones itself is going to be hard as well. You could see teams go all the way around south. I believe a team actually did that too. And then, of course, Cruz del Valle, you probably wouldn't be going through either. So, not the biggest. Again, what I wanted to say with this was this is a pretty easy circle to get to. Because, there's a lot of entry points available. So, not the biggest issue for anyone. FaZe gonna start driving south immediately. Obviously, they saw Gamer Legion in the parachutes. They know the Crow Crowd loots El Pozo. I think they go down by Monte, just to kind of start their rotation from there anyway. And then what happens over here is interesting. Let's draw up the center, right? This is the center of the circle. Kind of the center of the circle. What do we have in here to play around? Junkyard? That's not exactly the best spot in the world to sit. And then we have this whole valley going through here, which is suicidal to go to. Then you have the open warehouse compound on the top. From this compound, you can't scout anything. So in the very center, there's very little to play around, which is why we see 1, 2, 3, 4 teams go here really early. Pretty much all of G2 sent it down towards Junkyard because they realized we are not getting anything if we don't go early. Reciprocity as well. They were over in Minas. They have full speed gone towards the east. Ends trying to get a spot for themselves. So everyone's crashing into... Like you can see Rustamar tries to go up and get a spot. They're all contesting, and it's seconds differences that, like, it's seconds make the difference in whether you get those spots or not. So everyone's coming up on the northern side. Liquid try to push up from the south, and 47 catch them out, but I don't think they lose any players. Nope, they keep on rotating. Crow Crowd, they do crazy rotations all game. Watch this. They started Crow Crowd start here. Just keep that in mind. And now they're here. Keep that in mind. They started El Pozo. They're all the way on the southern shore. 7 go over the top. And again, next circle is going to determine a lot. Because we talked about this whole valley road thing that is horrible. El Azahar, of course, being a city and kind of a pit. You don't want to get locked down in there. Because this is a hilltop you can play. This is a hilltop. Hilltop. I mean, it's just, you can so easily get contained inside of El Azahar. So there's a lot of areas on the map that are really, really hard to play around. Not even able to be in Toby's chat. You have to be nice. I don't know. What do you mean? What do you mean? Thursha. Boop. New circle pops. El Azahar still inside it. The valley that we just talked about, still inside it. And this one as well, still inside. Not only do these 3 areas take up a lot of space, but they make it really hard for, like, how do you avoid these areas? How do you avoid anything here? Either A, you go all the way around the side, but keep in mind that this right here, this whole mountain on the map, you cannot go up there. This is inaccessible terrain. You cannot even drive up there with a vehicle. Believe me, I've tried. Which means that since this area here is a downhill in this direction, if you want to rotate around this side, which technically makes sense, it shifts up north, go all the way around the side, right? If you want to do that, the only thing you can do is drive up here. But look how little room you have. There could be teams sitting here. I mean, this could potentially be the only space you have to drive through if you want to avoid the roads, right? And what better place to set up a breach, like a rotation camp than right there then? You do not, like this is not a lot of space to be driving through. So that's very limited. You don't want to drive through the valley, that's suicidal. You don't want to cross here, that's scary. And you don't want to be inside El Azahar. So for the teams that are on the southern side, because right now we're counting Ratio Edge and 7 on the north. Everyone else is south. Base they're light years away, so we're not even going to count those. Everyone else is fighting south, right? I hope these drawings, they make sense to you, because there's a lot of drawing. There's a lot on the what do you call it? On the map right now. We'll see. DA, they know they're early. They go up. They see 7 take the compound, so they go back and take this. Look at how little space you have to rotate around the right side. Both Liquid and Desperado wanted to go around on the right side to scout, but they run into each other. Very, very limited. Very, very limited in space of moving around. Thank you, Thursha. I've had a good weekend. Very good weekend. Thank you. Face, finally get into the circle. We'll remove all the drawings so you guys can remember what I drew. Crow Crowd, they're coming from the south. New circle pups, even more so than before. How do you rotate up here? If you go anywhere up here now, like if you go anywhere up in this area now, and you don't get the next circle, you're fucked. If you go up here now, and you don't get the next circle, you're fucked. If you go into El Azahar, and you don't get the next circle, you're most likely going to be fucked as well. And if you stay down here, you're pretty much doomed no matter what. So the only benefit of sitting on the northern side right now is that you can kind of transition between these two. But crossing here, because Navi has set up shop in the gas station, and because FaZe is sitting on the south side, this whole crossing has become, if not impossible, then something close to it. And again, draw the line. Look at how many teams on the southern side with so many areas you don't want to drive through. All these teams, FaZe has the best spot? No, I wouldn't say so. I think Navi or Ratio Edge right now has the best spot. TSM could as well, of course. That best spot only is the best spot in this circle. The thing for FaZe is that they have control on 2 sides, so they can transition as they please. That's the good thing for them. Fighting in the south. Again, they know they can't cross here because ENCE has taken this, so they are limited to only playing here. 1, 2, 3 teams, all stuck in the same bottom. Game of Legion come up as well. They're gonna be stuck too. Desperados, they say, nope, we don't want to do that anymore. Circle hard shifts west. FaZe, they're all kinds of happy. And I actually like what NIP tried to do. There were only 2 guys alive that had been fighting early, but they try to rotate around the back, but they get caught off. FaZe find them. They're gonna go down, I believe. Miracle gets found at some point too. G2 come up to the ridgeline now. There's just so many teams. I mean, imagine you standing by the water. Let's say this is water, right? It pretty much could be this area. Let's say this is all nice water with the nice waves that I'm drawing for you. This is a river. The more teams you cram on your side, the less time you can spend actually trying to look over to what's on the other side. Either A, you just send it and hope there's something available, or B, you make sure to clear everything, and I mean everything, on your side down here, and then cross. The only thing is that on this side of the mountain, all the guys that are over on the other side can see you as well. So if you're Braxco, now I know he's knocked, but if we say he wasn't, and he wants to start fighting TSM, once he makes himself exposed on the side, he's gonna be he will always be visible to some team. That's the issue. If he starts looking down towards TSM, haha, he has the ankle, but he can get shot at by them, and then he may be safe from FaZe on the backside. But once he then goes back to heal, haha, now I'm not visible to TSM, but now FaZe can shoot me in the back. So he's never safe at any point, which makes it like this position is extremely dangerous to play. And I think that's why, as Selfish writes as well right now, thank you, writes, I don't think any of the teams that are here at this point, like any team south of this line, or we can say any team within this area, none of them are thinking, oh, let's win this game. They're just saying, A, we're never ever going to cross. Simply won't be possible. B, let's just see how many points we can get down south. You see, I mean, immediately, normally in these circles, you'd see teams trying to look for the center. None of these do. G2, they're the only ones to try to go across because they feel like they're kind of early to it as well. But TSM, they never move a muscle. They just stay on the edge and fight. Knights, they could have tried to cross, but there's no reason to try that. They're just sitting on the top, waiting to take the fight underneath. Ends, same exact thing. We gotta take the fight on our side. And I will, of course, being a solo player, it's kind of limited what you can do. Circle, once again, down in the open. Liquid took control of the hillside, and I really like this play. We can go we can rewind a bit. They drive to the city. They realize Gustav is there, and they immediately push it. Look at this. Normally when, because they didn't see him come in, they were driving in, as you see, driving in while he's driving in. So they're sending it on foot now, but they hear it's a bike, so they say, good, there can only be 2 people there. They can, at max, like at most, there can be 2 people there. So what they do is they say, we need this corner, because this corner of El Azahar is going to be our access point to the hilltop. It's the only place we can get up. We know that these teams have been fighting over here. We know there's probably teams in these 2 positions. So the only way we can get up this hill is by having control of this side of the road. And they just force it. They send it full speed forward. Gustav, nades are thrown over towards him. He's trying to get back. His teammates are trying to come to help, but he goes down too quickly. And that only works because Liquid pushed it as fast as they did. Had TSM been allowed to get further out on the ridge line and contain with 3 people rather than just Michael shooting, that could have been potentially EB or James knocked. And also they lost Samty early, right? So that would have been them down to 2 players, and then they cannot at all play this hilltop. But they steal his bike. EB and James push up the hill, or EB and Yemti push up the hill, and now they have a new task. There's no reason for Liquid to worry about any of these 2 spots, because it would make absolutely no sense for them to push out in this circle. So what they need to do is do this with their vision. They just need to be the team that makes sure that nobody comes out of this area alive. Now we can go back to where we were before. Desperado, try to push around the side. Pro Crowd finds them. Again, keep your vision. That's what Liquid does in the middle. We saw this before. Ends try to come up and take the fight. Everyone starts fighting on the southern side. Everyone dies, obviously. Here comes another smart play. DA, they're focusing south right now. They say we're not going to be able to push up this hill if there's still a team here shooting at us. Smart play by DA. Now, Liquid, they start shooting towards 7, forcing them over this way. They say, you ain't getting up here. The only thing you guys can do is push over here. So that happens. They run into each other. A bit of there was quite a few whiff bullets in that fight. They Liquid donate themselves a third-party opportunity here by saying, we know there's a team down here. If we can force these guys to run this way, even though they don't want to, because the circle is already pushing in, that's going to be a guaranteed third-party opportunity for us. So they pretty much just follow them on the hilltop all the way over. Sixmo goes down. That's going to be them down and out. Ratio edge now. Circle shifts away from their compound. They could have pushed out this way. Look at this, guys. Crow Crowd, where are they now? They're on the north. Where were they in the beginning? Far down south. We'll draw up their whole rotation in a second. It's pretty funny how they rotated this. But great third-party timing from Ratio edge. They knew what team was on the top. They get the elimination. Squeaky's there to help. Great timing from Ratio edge to disengage from the compound. Say we cannot play the edge here. We cannot play anything here if we don't deal with what's up there, because they'll just be containing us, right? Like they'll move in with the circle and they'll just contain us. So great play by Ratio edge to push out of the compound when they had to. Now Na'Vi, same situation as with Liquid up here containing this. Navi's job right now is to contain this. And why is it? Because if Na'Vi can make sure that once this next circle pops, if it doesn't go to them, which it doesn't, if they can make sure that there's nobody inside this area, then they have got themselves a free, like then they will have full control, because they can sit here and they can see all the way down here. Like their vision is this, and then up the hill kind of here. Their vision is this. This is what the Na'Vi team can see. They know for a fact that there's no one down here. This is all cleared from earlier. So if they can make sure that there's no one left alive down here, then they will have everything, like they will have this entire side to play on, right? So we see they don't give a crap what happens over here. Their eyes are all on what's going on this way. Raiden is caught in the corner. Reels goes down. They go down, and as soon as they do go down, boom, they push out. Now Na'Vi knows we have access to all of this for free. Even more, actually. It's like this. Good circle for them. They're still not in the middle, but they have enough space to work around. Ratio Edge has a bit of a dip over here, and they will quickly realize as well, we need to make a move. Because if we're not like, they're sitting behind the ridge line down here. If we don't make a move, and the next circle goes away, these teams won't be fighting each other. They'll just be sitting and looking at us, and then we can't do anything because they have to run from there. So 60 tries to make the push down. They get some damage done towards a Doozy. C9 realizing this, flanks onto the side. They get the knock onto a Doozy, and perfect timing on the push, honestly. They could not have pushed earlier. They get the knock, perfect timing. Senya is there, unfortunately. Finds him. Ratio it's now down to 3. And this just becomes a stall. This is where it becomes a little difficult to do analysis from the map. That would be great to see actually in game. Yes, I will show you. I will show you the Crow Crowd rotation. And Crow Crowd actually, I believe they get. I don't remember. You can see here, they pretty much all die within the same second. I'm pretty sure that Crow Crowd gets second place this game. And anyway, watch this. Watch this. I want to draw it up for you. Actually, I can do that with this. I'm pretty certain. Crow Crowd. How do we do this whole drawing up thing? Can you do that anymore? You used to be able to with the clock. Maybe that's not in this feature. Okay, in any case. Oops. In any case, follow Crow Crowd. I'm just gonna draw it all up for you. I will draw it in red. It's easier to see. They get up here. Still following. They get up there, fighting Gamer Legion. They get up here. Actually go further. It's more like this. And the game ends. Now that, my friends, is a Crow Crowd rotation. Hey, Veritech, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. This is a Crow Crowd rotation. I was doing, I don't know if you guys saw on Twitter, but I was doing the per map. I was just doing like comparisons, right? They had almost, on one day, they had almost rotated half the distance as a team that Gamer Legion has rotated throughout the entire tournament so far. In one day. They rotated, I think they rotated 38 kilometers in one day, or 36 or something like that. And Gamer Legion had rotated 83 kilometers throughout the tournament so far. It's absolutely insane. They rotate so much, and I compared it to 2018 PUBG, where you want to find the soft side of the circle. I don't know if you remember, but back when Liquid had Scoom on, people used to call it Liquid rotations. For example, Gamer Legion here. Let's say this was 2018, right? So the circle goes away. Oh my god, what do we do? Instead of following it in, they just go, find the quiet side. Or else they do, find the quiet side. That used to be Liquid rotations, so they do that, and it works. I mean, they get late game. They haven't been that lucky with their kills and kill points yet. But I mean, if they can combine those two, Roka could be a scary team. In any case, that was game 1. We can see them all here. Now we will head over to the second game of the day. We'll just have to change it here as well, or else people get confused. There you go. Gonna be tough when they play the newer patch. Cars strings, a lot more gas. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of changes coming in. I mean, both for them and for other teams too. Let me just take a sip of coffee. And then we'll continue. Game number 2. We're staying on Miramar. This time around, decent plane. And again, N47, they'll go anything between these two spots, so it doesn't really matter to them. 7 still looting their northern spot. Circle this time, west. And now I think we can draw up quite a bit more. Because teams, they will come through Picado. I've always said, and it's interesting, I've never really talked to the players about this, but had I not known any better, I would just say, nobody goes through Picado. But teams actually tend to do that. I think Liquid aren't very, and this is not at all a negative thing, but Liquid are not very creative with when they rotate. They're pretty easy to like, if you do your prep as a PEL team, you will know, okay, around this time, in this sort of circle, Liquid likes to move at that time. And I don't think they care that other people know that. It's just, they have something, it works for them. Why not rotate when we like to rotate? And teams, obviously, they will have figured this out. So, for example, TSM in this case, they can say, good, this is a circle where we're not in the middle. We cannot just drive straight down because Liquid is still there. We cannot just go around because Ratio Edge is there. We cannot go through San Martin because NIP is there. What we can do is wait. I'm not saying this is what happens this game, but they could just wait and say, we know for a fact that whenever we hit 4 minutes and 20 seconds, because favorite number on Twitch, then this city will be free of Liquid players. Which means that if we can be down here by 4 minutes and 19 seconds, then we have a free rotation through Picado. That could be a good strategy to follow. So even though, as I always say, cities are yikes and you don't want to go there, there's actually surprisingly many teams that like to go through Picado for reasons that are unknown to me, other than the fact that you're safe and when you're on the outside of it, you're somewhat open. But what we do know is this, you don't want to rotate over. We've drawn it up a billion times. El Pozo, no. This out here becomes obviously practically impossible to drive through. So this, everything here is no. I wouldn't assume to see teams rotate over the south, but we do have Rustam and Squeaky down here, and I think they're doing this because they don't anticipate N47 to stick around. But obviously water, you can't really drive through. And for those of you guys who are supporting the channel, which I truly do appreciate, I just want to let you know that because we are also recording this for YouTube, I have sounds taken off. So there's no alarms. It's because it's in a YouTube video, it's so annoying when you have those alarm sounds going on all the time. But Executor, thank you so much for the subscription. It is really truly appreciated, guys. But in any case, let's see how they rotate on through here. TSM, know it's open. They know that Knights have left. They'll just send it straight down. Actually, straight through the area that we said probably wouldn't be run through, but they decide to do it anyway. I like it. Change of pace. Knights, they sit in a two-way split. And one area we can draw it up already, actually. There's an area down here, and it's this. This area right here is, I guess you can say there's nothing there. You have one shack. But as long as all these compounds are in play, you can't really play that hill because it's just open. It's horrible. We'll leave that cross there and the box there for a little while. N47, they go up and take hill control. G2 are coming in late. Everyone is trying to go somewhat center, but because the area is what it is, Valley Road, it goes something like this, and Big Valley Road. Teams don't really want to hard commit to one hilltop. You want to be able to sit on a hill and have a backup plan on the other side, right? So you don't really see anyone hard committing. Teams are splitting somewhat thinly. You see FaZe, they're sitting somewhat thin as well. Liquid, they're splitting thinly with teams down in the compound. TSM trying to split. Nobody really wants to hard commit to one area this early on, understandably so. Let's see, new circle pops. We go north. Interesting. One of the main things about this circle is the fact that a billion games have ended up here. And when I say a billion, I think that's actually the correct number. So many games have ended up in this area. And that is, of course, I mean, I think, I mean, one thing is that I think we all know that the circles aren't always completely random, but there's also a certain amount of superstition between PUBG players. So, oh my god, guys, do you remember 2 weeks ago that game went up to that compound? That means it's gonna go there again today. I mean, players will tell themselves these things, and there are certain things that you know will happen with the water and all that stuff. But it's just interesting that sometimes they, like when I asked the player, why did you guys rotate over there? Oh, we had seen it go there the day before, so we thought it was going to do it again, and then it did, and then they got killed. Some teams like to go with their gut feeling in that regard, and I can rather go with a gut feeling than not know why you're rotating. So I guess that's something. Crow Crowd will go down. You see NIP there full on sending it up north. Of course, Monte is not exactly the area you want to be in these type circles, and also these two areas are very different. This is very flat, like this is just a flat area with compounds in it, and from pretty much from this marker down here, from the road all the way up here, is one big uphill push in this direction. Like it's just one big hillside that you go up towards between where Knights are and where Game Legion is right now. So we see everyone trying to rotate. Nobody really wanted to take center because, look at my drawing, we can actually extend it a little bit too. You can do like this is more correct. There's nothing to take within this area. You cannot play it. It is suicide to go there. Yes, I have played, I have seen it. There's absolutely nothing to go for in this whole area. So everyone, you can see everyone is trying to rotate around, figuring where's our access to the middle of this circle. It only gets worse. Now, Knights, they're still keeping their two-way split. TSM is two-way split. Liquid is keeping a three-way split. And at this point, I was thinking, Liquid, maybe Knights too. You're getting a little greedy with these splits. You might want to get together. Things are starting to look kind of scary. Because as you can see, I was just going to say, teams are going to be forced to push forward. I mean, if you're DA and you're sitting on the hill, you better damn look down towards these buildings and figure out how many teams are in there. And what you do is you say, if you're sitting up here and you have a 6x or 8x scope, you just look down at the building and say, good, guys, I've seen one guy with now a lot of people use the same shirts in these games, but one guy with a level 2 helmet and a pan on his back. Good call. Then the other guy goes, I've seen one guy with a green shirt. Great, now we know there's at least 2 players in there. And then when they keep seeing the same 2 players, and you can go, wait, either they're wearing the exact same outfit with everything being the same, or there's just only 2 players there. And when you're in a situation where you're up on the hill, you're on the edge of the circle, and you have a chance to take a 4v2 fight down here, you better damn do it. So they crash the compound. Unfortunately, they run over each other. It doesn't really go the way that they would have wanted it to. Not at all, actually. Raise your edge. Look at this rotation from them far out around the side. They realized very early on they have this area. Again, probably went up there because a lot of circles have ended in that area. This one is going to shift away, and they know. They probably mentally draw up the same heat map that we make, right? Or heat map, the same entry point thing. You cannot go inside the city. So pretty much this is a suicide path to drive through. Cannot go into the city, cannot go on the hilltop. This is a suicide path to drive through. You don't know what's on the hill. This is a suicide path. This compound is taken. That's gonna be scary. This is a big valley. That's gonna be scary. You have a little access point here. And if you can scout down here, of course you can make your way up there. But if not, then you cannot really get in before you get all the way down here. So they realize this very quickly and say, we better get moving. We need to start driving, and it has to be right now. So they send it forward, full speed, full speed. Start driving towards that next circle. In the meantime, Liquid goes 2-2. They realize that they cannot keep the split they were holding from before. Raise your edge. Colder goes up to scout from the hilltop. They run straight in to face. They didn't spend the time scouting that they had to. They didn't have time to do the scouting that they needed to, I guess you can say. And they run straight into face. 6 ends up getting killed because he starts flying with a buggy. It looked very interesting. And face now is in a situation where I don't think I can show clips. Thank you so much, Selfish. Thank you so much. But I don't want to show clips from the in-game because I don't have permission to do it yet. And I know that a lot of people have had issues with those sorts of things before. So as much as I want to show clips and analyze that, I unfortunately cannot do it before I get permission. But FaZe is now in an interesting situation where I think they would have wanted to play in. Chat can watch it. That is correct. Chat can see it. They wanted to focus on pushing towards the circle, but now they cannot do anything before they deal with ratio edge. New circle goes east. Again, we have had this box in here for quite a long time, and it is still the same. As long as these 3 compounds are in play, you cannot play anything on this hillside. That's good air on that one. Yeah, we came over to the camera panned over to them, and I was like, where the fuck did that buggy come from? I was sitting, is there a ramp somewhere? But then I talked to him, and it's just like he tried to crash into the church, and it just bugged out on the staircase or something like that. I was so confused. But in any case, this area is still exactly the same. As long as these compounds are in play, can't do anything from there. NIP, they go out to the eastern side. Knights go down. Crow Crowd has now crashed it alongside the A. Face forced, and this was a scary push from Face. You know these circles are scary. You know these circles are scary when Face go 3 guys into 1 vehicle. That was very, very scary. T-Bone tried to shoot over, but they're back. Like, they practically don't have any ammo at this point. They're in a big valley, on a big pit, a big hole. And this whole thing that we've drawn up is still taking. Look at the amount of space this area is taking up. We can draw it up nicely here now. This whole thing, I guess it goes from here, right? Yeah. This whole thing, you cannot play. Look how much of the circle is this area. You can, at this point, maybe, if you're very, very desperate, you can commit and just, like, if you're a solo player alive or something, you can crash one of these 3 shacks. But other than that, there's really nothing to come for in there. If you have any plans of surviving and winning this game, you cannot go there. And you can see everyone is running around because these 3 compounds are in play. And the thing about this area is that all these hills are, the ridge lines are uphill. It's not like plateaus you can go down on. It's one big push uphill. And all the ridge lines are like half pipes. Have you ever seen snowboarding? And they have like all these half pipes, just half pipe, half pipe, half pipe, half pipe. So you can be covered, like if you're sitting here, you can be covered from the guy over here. If you go back down towards your own little hole, right? But while you're sitting here and trying to heal, this guy can see you. And if you go over into that one, this guy can see you. This guy can see you. So you just cannot play these areas at all this early on in the game. I hope that makes sense. That's why no one is sitting up here at this point. Because as long as these 3 compounds are in play, you can't do anything. Now, Knights, they decide to leave, and I like this play. Okay, they go to the shack, but they only go there because they were the team that was in that compound. And also, of course, the circle has shifted, and now they know, good. This has been, like, this whole area that we drew up before has been unplayable for the entire game. We know this because we were sitting here, and we were looking for teams to go up here, right? And they realize very quickly, once the circle shifts away, boom, we're only 2 guys. We are going to play the hell out of this shack. We're just going to chill. Can't do a whole lot. Play the shack. Liquid, still in 2-way split. Now we can remove the drawings. So they go up here. Smart play. They know that these guys have to fight because they lost 2 of their teammates over there. So they're not going to be focusing on anything other than taking out each other. And TSM has enough to focus on down here. At this point, the fact that Liquid is keeping their 2-man split, I even called it out on broadcast. I said that is extremely greedy, but it makes sense to an extent because very few people have vehicles at this point in the game. I mean, you cannot push it. Again, remember, everything from the road is one big uphill in this direction. You cannot drive a car uphill and crash like this. There's going to be so many teams third-partying you that it's practically impossible. So they keep this 2-way split, which I actually think is a pretty smart idea. No, had it been any other place on the map, had it been on Erangel, Sanhok, whatever, you would never have kept this split for so long. But because they know nobody has vehicles at this point, if they push this, we'll see so far away. And it's very open, so other teams will be shooting at them and we'll get like a warning before it happens. They can maintain their split. 7, they push up towards Gamer Legion. They need to clear their side. Again, this is a big valley with face in it. Everyone's fighting on the sides, and now the new circle popping, Liquid do commit to 1. N47, they're playing the southern side. Still 4 guys alive. They've been on the quiet side for a while, so they don't have more than a couple of kills so far in the game. They know that beneath... they're taking control of the dip. that N47 or that phase was in before, and because they were in it, they couldn't play it. Like, they couldn't play up here because phase was in that place. But now that they know that they've left, they can start flanking around, and if they can get down phase, then they will have all of this under their control. When are these analyses coming to YouTube? I upload them pretty much the same evening or day as we do the analysis. You can do !YT or YouTube in the chat, and you will get the link to the channel. This play from Liquid, again, very smart. 3 guys drive, and we see a lot of these bait things happening. We see a lot of these bait things happening where teams will take 3 guys in a car, and they know. I mean, there's only one thing TSM can do here. If you're getting crashed by 3 people, you damn better go out and start shooting at them. The only advantage you can have in this situation is that you get to shoot at these people before they get out of the car. You will have that advantage over them, right? But here comes James with a mini in hand. Boom, boom. Immediately knocks down 1 player. And all of a sudden, it's a 3v4. But James can still assist. Make that a 3v2, actually, because it lost Gustav earlier as well. James finds 1 more knock, pushes further forward. In the meantime, this fight has been kind of stalled. They know, but again, look at, you can see it right here. Look at this, like the way that the terrain is, right? That's what we talked about before. You're sitting in each little vertical valley. That is not at all a word, but you know what I mean. And they need to deal with each other. They need to deal with each other before they can go, anywhere else. Fortunately, they know that these guys are fighting down here. And now that that fight is over, as soon as the last member of TSM goes down, Liquid just sends it uphill. They know that they're getting a perfect third-party opportunity, and N47 are getting completely and utterly sandwiched in the middle. 1 down, 2 down, T-Bone tries to stay put. 8C is the last one alive. Liquid 4 players up. T-Bone just says, you know what, I'm just going to go down to the blue. 8C goes down 2, and Liquid wins the game. Really smart rotations and understanding how to use terrain. Great breach. James hit the shots he had to. Liquid wins it. Good job by them. And a pretty simple game overall as well, honestly. It's a lot of things happened in that game, but it was very easy to... from a viewer, I think, to understand what happened and why certain things happened the way that they did. Also, this video is going to be very long today. I think we're going to go over Sanhok extremely quickly, just so that this video doesn't get extremely long, because we talked a lot in the beginning of this game. But let's see. Sanhok. Out goes everyone. Desperados jumping down south. They didn't want to fight for ruins anymore. Desperados said that they wanted to start going up towards Camp Bravo, but they didn't want to do it with this plane, I guess. Circle, send us up. River. The only real threats in this phase immediately, I mean, they have first phase up here already. They know this is one of the compounds of the game. Like, these 2 compounds, the games always end on. One of the 2. And I wonder what happens this game. We'll leave it at 16 times speed, because it's limited what we can really analyze here. TSM tried to contain an IP in crossing, managed to get down 1. It's very limited, unfortunately, what I can do analysis-wise on Sanhok, because A, the terrain is horrible, B, it's very difficult to play around. But we do have a situation that we've seen both in the Korean League and in PEL as well, actually, recently, where in this specific area, inside these 4, just the square, right? You got 4 compounds. And if you can get this, you're golden. If you can get in here, I mean, there's no reason for any team that is sitting in any of these 4 compounds to push the middle. If you have a compound, you just sit there and wait and hope the game goes to you. And the only team that actually dares go in, I believe it happens somewhat soon. Maybe it does with the next circle shift. Because this circle has to go away from water, right? It can only go over here. It does. And look who takes center. Somewhat soon, don't they? Yep, there you go. Look at reciprocity. Boop. Now they're set. They can just chill. Of course, Senya sees them come past him. but they're sitting very well right now. Because they have guards. They're like the VIP in between all his security guards. The only somewhat open angle is here. But N47 knows that they need to deal with Ns and the other teams on the edge before they can take a fight center circle. So Reciprocity making this move realize we're not going to get a billion kills off of this. But we'll get a good placement. Scoom is found, unfortunately. Let's get rest back on up. Everyone, and this is also what they avoid. Look at the edges of the circle. If we just put Reciprocity in the middle, everyone else is on the edge. And everybody knows this is a compound, can't go through there. This is a compound, can't go through there. This is a compound, can't go through there. And haha, same thing up here. So the teams that are trying to push in, if we draw a little line thingy again. Water, it's horrible, but we'll let that one pass actually. This is what your entry opportunities look like. That is very ugly drawing, but I think you know what I mean. You can only get in, it's like a compass pretty much. Everything else is horrible. So you're already now, I mean, Reciprocity by doing this avoided all those confrontations. At this point we had 41 people. We were at 41 just before, right? Yeah, 41 players when this circle is almost shrunk in. Still sitting center. Gonna move further up north. By the time they start fighting, we just saw them shoot one guy there. This is the first time they shoot someone in this game. We're down to 24 players. They just lived through a chaos of 20 people dying by taking a center position, and they're still sitting center. That is very nice read by Scoom or whoever called that play, I'm not sure. Like really, really nice read by them to get that spot. And a hard thing to commit to, but they do it. They said, no one's going to be center, it's just us. And now all of a sudden we see the N47 that we've seen before when they were Suk the Nam. Once they start, like once they really get their groove on, once they get the ball rolling, they're so good at just sweeping edges. Like their communication mid-fights and stuff like that is so good. They just clear. You can see them. They started down here and they go all the way around the side so that they know now we have all of this to play on. In the meantime, they try to contain DA. Unfortunately, the circle is going to end pretty much in the compound. And then I'm not sure exactly how they end up losing this one, but they do. DA wins it with, I think, just the kills that they got here. But should have been. I think it should have been a N47 win. And they got 14 kills that game or something as well. Very good game for N47. Really great at clearing edges and containing all the way through. But that was the Sanhok game, and we'll go over to the next one immediately. Immediately. Yeah, you could say that. You could say that they got the most points in the game, so technically, you could argue that it was a win. Game number 4 of day 1. Coffee sip. Maddie, I agree with you. I completely agree. You wanted to come to Berlin and bully me? That's kind of rude. So, first game of Erangel on the week. Do you guys see any changes? I will let you answer the question. Is there anything that is happening in this game that is out of the ordinary? If you're sitting on YouTube, you can say it as well. Kari Borges, good morning to you as well. Ratio it's milli. Yeah, that's a little different. I agree. We were trying to figure out why, but it kind of makes sense, right? Because, I mean, there's no one above river only because we just started the game. But their Ratio Edge has done this a couple of times. They were the, I guess you can say, I mean, they used to have Yasnaya for free. And now they're not contested by N47 because if they both go there, I mean, I have at least not seen any fighting between N47 and Ratio Edge in Yasnaya the times they've been there. But when you get a plane like this that goes over Prim, and you know Millie is going to be open, because the only team that would contest is either A, Desperado, but they can go north, they can just jump out here and get vehicles, or, and FaZe, they should be able to fly down towards Mills of Power. Haze, thank you so much for the host. Whenever that happens, Ratio Edge can get military for free. Also, by the time they start looting, Page has practically not even gotten there yet. Also, this is a very fortunate circle, so I guess a lot of good things happening in the start of this game for them. But overall, let's look at this circle. So we don't know for sure yet whether it's going to be Millie or whether it's going to be the main island. It could still, I mean, it could have its dot down here. It would be, I mean, very, very random that it did, but it could happen, And if we talk rotation paths, we're limiting a lot already. Because if we take for granted that no one will cross over, that means that everything from here... Actually, I mean, unless if a team takes a boat. I don't even have to draw it more than this. This to this. We're allowing... Whoops. We're allowing for teams to use this much space, unless if you take a boat. We're allowing teams this much space to rotate into circle 1. That is not going to be easy. I think I can tell you guys already. And yes, it is a pretty big area, but also, of course, you don't drive through the open fields that much. You don't go actually out into the shoreline that much. Pretty dangerous start to the game. If we take for granted that no one comes over the military bridge, which I know that nobody did. And thank you so much, Kaposhi. I enjoyed casting with him as well. It went really well, I feel like. So let's see. Yeah, they get 1/4 of the zone pretty much to rotate in and play from, because we can count this up as well. I wish I had this as a thing where if I draw something and add it to the line, boom, it just immediately pops percentage. Then it goes like 32%. It's not 32%, but you know what I mean. So it shows how much of the circle I've marked. That could be kind of interesting. But this is what they have. If we assume that no one's down here, let's say Ratio Edge takes Ratio Edge, they will stay around for a little bit. That's going to be 15 teams sharing this area in circle 1. If you think of it like the terrain itself, the mass of terrain, that's probably, I would say, circle 3 land mass. Maybe somewhere between circle 2 and circle 3. So from really early on, we're excluding a lot of terrain. And that is something, that's the main thing in this one. I will tell you to you immediately. That is something that teams need to be aware of. You cannot just land, go into your loot bubble and say, oh, we always land here, let's just loot, and not give a crap about what's going on. They have to know, especially the 2 teams down here, they have to be very, very aware that there is only so much available in this circle. A team doesn't want to sit out and farm and wait in this circle. They'll try and take something center. Like all teams will try and go for something. So we'll just fast forward a little bit as teams start rotating on in. Michael goes up. Look at the split TSM sets up here. Had this been in any other circle, then it would have made sense. But look at this. Michael and Iroh are completely and utterly isolated. Rory is a kilometer away, and Gustav is inside the city on his way down towards Rory. Like it makes sense how they want to set it up. I think Gustav goes here, right? They want to make sure no one can come through here. So this is gonna be death. Like this is their death spot. And Iroh and Michael sits in a 2-way split, and they can contain the teams trying to drive through here. But what ends up happening is this. Dead. They just lost a player, I would say, for no reason at all. I like the idea of splitting up and trying to take control. But a team, they will know. Liquid will know. There are two scenarios here. Either A, we got here and there was no one. Or B, we got here and there's a solo guy chilling. They don't even have to say send it. It's a perfect, like it makes perfect sense to do. There's no way in hell that Liquid are getting 4v4'd in an engagement on this area in Circle 1. Like, there's no way there's going to be 4 players inside this box, which means that no matter what, they will have the advantage in the fight. Yes, Michael could assist, but if these are split, even if it's a 2-2 split, these guys would probably not push down. They'd get the hell out of there, especially if they get a knock early. Samchi got killed really fast. Michael, nothing he can do. All he can do is leave. Go down to Rory and Gustav and hope for the best. I just don't agree with the way they split this so early on. Had it been a circle that maybe had the center somewhere else, I don't know. But in a circle where there's so little to play around, it is extremely greedy to think that you can split like this. In my opinion. In my opinion. They're good guys, they're a good team, but I think that was a bit of a mistake. You see FaZe, immediately, they know we have looted all the priority areas. We have taken all the important spots to go to. But there's no way in hell we can keep that. For now. Keeping that two-way split. Now they get a little more greedy, 2-1-1. They're hearing more and more teams starting to approach the area. And then something, you can always split like that when Liquid is in the lobby. I think there are more teams than Liquid that will commit to a play like that. They go for Monkey. They don't want to sit on the south side. Also this one. Raise Your Edge, they were waiting. I mean, in phase 2, Raise Your Edge were the only team. They were looting Primorsk. They were the only team that would do this. I've not seen a single other team do this than Raise Your Edge. And they were like, ha ha ha, we got him now, don't we? But no one came, so they were sad, and they left. NIP, they start driving up. They want to... I think initially they just want to rotate in. But then this happens. And everyone goes, well, that sucks. Because obviously there's going to be people in Milta. Meaning that this rotation is going to be like D-Day. Practically suicidal. And at the same time, they probably think, you know what? There's a big chance that the next circle will have water in it too. So how about? How about? Oop. Oop. Yoink. Dude. I actually think they take a boat down here, not up there. But doesn't matter. Still the same story. They were not expecting... Let's put it this way. NIP only knows so much this game, right? They do not anticipate Raise Your Edge to be here. Like they're not assuming Raise Your Edge would still be sitting in Novo at this point. Free spot on the other side. It is dangerous, but if you think about it, A, why would a team be on the bridge? B, why would a team be in Novo? C, why would a team be down here? And if you can clear this, they could pretty much clear it by the time they sailed. This one is just like a... No one would expect that. And this one over here, you can kind of clear as you come sailing in. But the reason no one will sit here now is because it's going to shift away, right? It's going to exclude water, so you know that this area won't be in anyway. So they send it there. Liquid, they, I think, I don't remember exactly what goes wrong, but they're sitting in a 3-way split. They try to drive around way too many teams, and they end up getting completely split off from one another. In the meantime, FaZe, and again, this is a repeat of what we saw with Liquid. Now, what we saw with TSM earlier. This split is good. It works. But once this next circle pops, you have to move. Like, you cannot be greedy and hold these 3 spots, I believe, at least. We have still got 61 players alive. We can see them in the top of our screen. 61 players alive. And they have at least 2 priority spots in this circle. This I don't really count as much as a priority spot, but this compound down here is pretty good because you can get up to the plateau and you can look down in this direction. So they have at least 2 spots if we count this one as part of this one. And we don't see anyone else 2-way split other than G2, who is currently trying to rotate their team further around the side. So they end up getting crashed because obviously Knights having sit in the 2-story houses. They've just been scouting over here for the longest time. Mexi wants to get inside the vehicle, you can see, but ends up getting caught off. N47 in the meantime will go on the other side, take the compound. 7 rotates around. And that's another sad thing, right? Because Buzzface, he needs to stand up here and try and assist his teammates. 8C, of course, trying to hold the backside. That makes sense. Uber can't really contribute a whole lot because I don't think you can see much this way. I think you can only see the two top floor windows in the house. So Face, they get pushed. 7 doesn't really hard commit to it. Yes, we've done that. We've done that. NIP comes over. Game of Legion are holding the top. New circle. So bad. I kind of want to drop where the... I mean... It's gotta be... somewhere around there. Like... center has to be on land. And that's the center. That is brutal. That is brutal. That's a really, really, really bad circle. So obviously, everything. I mean, did you 1, 2, 3. We'll count these guys as one team. 4 are in it. Ratio Edge, they're still in Novo. Then we have this cluster. How? It's like you know when you're a baby and you sit with that box where it has like a square, it has a circle, and then you have to fit the figure that fits in. Like this just doesn't add up. It does not add up. More than half of this circle is water. Like way more than half of this circle is water. Use a hammer. I think that's what some of these teams try to do, but let's just let it play out and see what happens. Everyone knows this compound is going to be taken by one team, so it's going to be hard to breach. But if you can join the chaos down here, you might have a chance. Crowcrowd, send it. Reciprocity, send it. Everyone's trying to get something. Reciprocity actually manages to drive through all of it with almost 4 guys alive. Bjorn finds 1. But they go up here and they immediately spread out because they don't want to get naded and they don't want to get contained. Crowcrowd in the meantime are in the middle. Ratio Edge sailing all the way around rather than just beaching somewhere down here. They go all the way around. They end up getting exploded. Interesting place. But, I mean, once they committed to bounce further, they couldn't really turn around and go back because all the players were already there. New circle has to exclude water. Of course, only excludes as much as it can. I honestly think that that Ratio Edge would have been better off swimming as well. Because had they not started shooting at NIP, they would just have had, I mean, nobody would ever have looked that way. So we're now in a situation where, for the most part, other than Buster, poor Buster, is inside the circle. Inside the next one, that is. And no one's gonna really move on this. NIP, I really like the play that Miracle pulls off here. They know that Monkey made it to the other side, and he will help contain. Like, he can send so much info down for Shiv, and Shiv can start nading and whatnot. Miracle knows we will get contained down here, and we will get fucked. And he pushes around the side, comes up, finds Monkey. Like, they start shooting early to focus his attention over here. Allows for Miracle to push around the side. Really smart. How they got to the compound? It's not that complicated, really. They rotated really early, circle 1. Pretty simple rotation. They came in. Uber left it. I mean, who expects this to be center anyway, right? Normally the next circle goes up here or something. And they just drive around. They're sitting in a 2-way split. Once the new circle pops, they join them. It's not rocket science. Pretty straightforward rotation. In any case, new circle pops. NIP, they have now claimed all this and forced, because they got down 1, they forced Shiv and Udyr to play from the other side. To be fair, FaZe, I mean, if you look at the circle before N47 gets here. Would you really be sitting in this compound? I mean, I guess they could have two-way split between these two. I just think that this is such, like, so much more of a power compound than this is. Because you're so open on all sides, and if you have to leave, you're very often going to die, right? So Uber drives up. Don't know if he needed more loot or what, but he comes up. And in the meantime, while he's up there, they push around and get it. Probably could have played that, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure that would have been the play that I would have gone for. So in any case, hi Trudy. In any case, let's see where we are. Boom, there you go. Next circle again. After this circle excluded as much water as it could. Next one can contain as much water as it wants to. Doink, we're going back down to the water again. Now, N47, they're in. They need to cross, but they're in for now, and that's gonna be scary. Gamer Legion, they need to make sure A, they're not getting held from above, and B, they're not getting pushed. So they kind of have to focus on two sides at the same time. Navi, they have to leave, and there's really not a whole lot to go for over here. I mean, there's very little cover. It's uphill around here-ish. Looks like a path goes through there. But if you don't get up here, it's like you cannot play anything down here at all. And once you get up, it's an open plateau as well. So it's very tricky to play around. They find 8C, he's miles out in the blue, and now N47 has to push. And this play from Bjorn to take that wizard is actually extremely smart. You see him out there from early on. He has so much vision, and he's safe from a lot of angles. So he can help apply so much pressure on N47 as they're forced to cross. And this one was a bit of an interesting one to me. So Ivel gets knocked, and then Vasco starts driving, but Ivel is running back to heal. So obviously the team is not ready to rotate yet, but Vasco goes. I don't know if that was miscommunication or if they just said we need a guy to cross and we need him over there early, so G2 can't take the spot. But Ivel is obviously running back from having just been rested by T-Bone. Immediately runs back. I think T-Bone gets shot at as well. So there are two players with low HP, and Vasco just sends it. He ends up going down. Now Ivel and T-Bone goes. Page is trying to hold them, and they all end up dying. Vasco, I believe, survives for a little while, but he goes down too. Page is found before he can cross. So great hold by Gamer Legion. They say, you know what, we're not going to focus on the hillside. They'll fight each other. We'll just make sure that as few people as possible come out of this compound alive. NIP, of course, forced to push forward. They'll push over towards Udyr and Shift. They know that, well, they've been fighting reciprocity for a while. Need to do some damage and take them down to get somewhat of an area to play around. Bjorn gets cornered, and I don't think that's another little mistake made. I talked to him. He still thought that Vasco was there, and that's of course just a mistake. But he was so focused on holding his ankles that he wasn't looking at the kill feed, and he thought Vasco was still there. So he actually stays around after he's dead. He stays around because he thinks there's still like a player over here somewhere. And because he's looking in this direction, he ends up being exposed to Braxco, gets himself knocked. There could have been 4 on that hill. That would probably have been pretty damn useful. But at least he gets the info to his teammates that G2 are pushing around the right side. It's like an uphill plateau here. And while they push around and fight, NIP say, good, we're not going to let ourselves get contained on the shore. We'll push Brax and Miracle over. Great play from NIP once again. He unfortunately goes down. I mean, there's no backup for him at all, but he was trying to flank. And Gaxian and BS weren't there. So now it's 2v2, v3, v1. Gamer Legion gets the majority of the circle. NBS tries to push up to contain. Lets Gaxi cross further forward. Shivs on the backside, gets caught off. NBS gets found. Gaxi knows he's getting screwed over, and then 3v4 or 3v2 make that a trade immediately, and the double. So Gamer Legion win the game in what was a pretty interesting one at that. Gotta say, pretty interesting one. We'll go straight into game 5 because again, this video has been a little longer than what they normally are. 1920. Game number 5 of day number 1. Playing pretty decent. A lot of area that you can't really go to. And that, of course, means what, guys? that and that means that teams that go Milta Power, Milta, Novo even, Farm Split, the rotations aren't going to be that easy. Face, they end up going Prim. We have TSM going North George. Old TSM days. And the circle goes west. So Face, they get they get fortunate with the circle going that direction. And what can we do here as far as circles? I don't think we need to draw it up. I feel like you guys know Picado. I feel like you guys know Erangel better than you know Miramar in regards to where it can go in from where it can't. But there's a big highway going through here. There's somewhat of a highway passing through here. And then here you can go to Scout, but it's not really that good. This is going to be hard to cross through. And then, of course, you can come in and Scout from up here, but you can only really cross there, cross here, not cross, cross there, and the rest is water. So, interesting circle with, I mean, there's a lot of room to push in, but it's also very easy to see that there is a push, here, 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 and there. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What do you call it? 7 paths to the circle for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams. 7 paths, 8 teams. Should be pretty easy. You can rotate straight through. Yeah, I know, and the Face used to do it back in. I mean, they actually do it one of the games. I don't remember which one it is, but I feel like Face were one of the first teams to start doing this. But whenever we get the next Erangel, then this is gonna be hard to drive through. So maybe they'll go like this instead. Not that it's gonna change a lot. Point of entry. Thank you so much, Ty. That's a good word that I didn't think about. Cannot go here anymore. No, but yeah, Face used to do this, and I know that G2 they've done it a couple of times too. It's just, I think going through Pachinki is extremely situational. Because even though, yes, the team that looted it could have left, another team could have come up to take church to scout forward. Maybe not that, but scout this way. Or they could have set themselves down here to scout forward, and then once you start driving, you get fucked. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of... I don't think it's only because of the team that loots there that Pachinki is not the best way to rotate through. I get that it can be accessed where... But you're only really safe until you're around... Well, here. If this compound is taken too, if 1 or 2 of the Pachinki players just went out here, I mean, you're never going to leave there again. Because these fields are... And they're only gonna get worse. I think there's more to rotating through Pachinki than just saying, oh, but the team that loots there is gone. I think there's more threats to rotating through that. I get what you mean, that in a circle that is this far western, there's very little chance that it's gonna be a threat, but at the same time, I don't see the value. Like, I don't see what going through here can give you, as opposed to just going one of these 2 routes. I don't know. It's, again, situational and completely subjective. So NIP, up on the northern side, not used to having a North George team, but they don't really care too much about that this time around. Circle's going to start closing in soon. TSM, they're doing the wide split. And keep in mind as well, this is actually a thing that we haven't really talked about on stream, but it's... it does make quite of an impact because TSM, I say TSM and I circle Liquid. Liquid, they tend to like to rotate at least 1 or 2 players out pretty early in these sorts of circles. And what they like to take is normally one of these and scout forward and then go down and take. I mean, they always go down and play by chopsticks, right? But 7 are there. And 7 is a fairly new team. They're a new team to PEL. But they're also a new team to loot in this spot, so it's limited what prep work Liquid could have done. I mean, sure, they have week 1 to go through, but that's always a little chaotic. It's limited what prep work they could have done as far as knowledge on how and where 7 goes from these positions. So they don't rotate as early as I thought they were normally going to. But now I think they heard a vehicle leaving. They go down, scout, keep on driving, boom. They get this spot, not satisfied, keep on going, and they run straight into 7. EB and James turn around. They try to get somewhere else. James caught up on the northern side. Needs to take his car, get the hell back. Somehow he survives that. And now they can have their two-way split. So a little more chaos than what they were normally running into in these kinds of circles. But 7 managed to scare them off, and it's all good. In the meantime, an interesting Desperado push. Actually, pretty good Desperado push. Pushing over the top. They go down, send it further forward. Hello, Gaxi, how are you doing? Keep on driving. They saw Miraku come up the hill, so not going to contest that. And they will play the west coast. Alongside Face, who were kind of already out here. And alongside TSM, who normally don't rotate from here, but they go down and they crash in towards Desperado. Ratio Edge want a piece of the pie, and they force them back down, so that's going to be Gustav out of the game early on. G2 rotate in late. Scout. Braxco goes up to Scout. They normally, like, I think a lot of people actually call this G2 Forest. They'll go there. Yes. Ends up on the Everest. Ends come in late and they take Everest. But this circle has so many different end potentials. Crow Crowd, they're now fighting Gamer Legion. I don't... Bjorn does Bjorn things sometimes. And he gets a knock. They don't know how many people are on this compound. But Bjorn gets a knock on towards Mise. The team is nowhere near him, but he just sends it on a bike. I think he thinks it could be a solo player, but you just don't solo split this early on. And then when it's Crow Crowd too, in this point they would never have a guy down here and then like the rest of them up here. But Bjorn sends it over. The team is like, oh, okay, we're coming too. And then they force a fight with them. FaZe are there to assist a little bit damage-wise. And I believe they actually do end up getting the kills in on it. So Gamer Legion pushing up and them taking the fight here. Maze FaZe realize, well, I guess that means that we get some space down here. So FaZe is going to play Quarry. FaZe plays the north side of Quarry very often. And they get to go down and do that once again. Didn't like their edge position. Nugi runs off. Timmy and Misa runs off too. They don't want to fight. Again, when have we ever seen Crow Crowd fight early game, right? So they just book it. They're like, nope. Our guns don't work before circle 5. So we're gonna leave. And then, whoops. Then the new circle pops, and we are going towards the middle. Going up towards the middle. Reciprocity, two-way split. I wouldn't call this a two-way split, but they're taking control on the eastern side. Liquid all crash back towards where GMT was earlier. Navi full speed forward. Did they actually scout it from the hilltop? I don't feel like they did. I mean, I think Pokemoldo could. No, he cannot see it from there. So they're just sending it full speed forward, expecting this to be. I mean, they're expecting the split at this point. Yes, it does carry. They're expecting this to be a split. If there's anyone here, like you would never sit again. If you're 4 guys alive, you would never sit all 4 in this compound. And if you're 3 guys alive, you would never sit all 3 in this compound. You would somehow split this, and you would most likely have the majority of your players up here and fewer down there. So Udyr, the monkey gets to back off. Udyr gets caught, tries to crawl away, manages to run away, and Reciprocity stays 4 alive. Very impressive disengage. I thought that Navi was going to guaranteed to get 2 kills on that, but didn't happen. M47 after headshotting one. Yeah. But that happened way earlier, right? Yeah, they were sitting there and then they disengaged because they wanted to be further center. Also, they already had Shiv and Udyr up in this area, and they were fighting G2 already. So I think there was just too much pressure on this side of the circle for them to wanting to stay. And they had their vehicles too. So I guess it kind of made sense that they disengage. Also, this was when Liquid and 7 were fighting. So I think if we just try and go inside the brain of Reciprocity, right? They hear shots fired down here. And this normally means that even if one of the teams were here, I think what they wanted to do initially was to third party this. Like they disengage, they bail out, and then as soon as they get here and they hear these guys starting to shoot, They say, oh, wait, we can do something over here. And they push all the way up. Like, you can see how aggressive they rotate to begin with. They don't even care about scouting. They know that if there's a fight going on here, there's no way anyone is sitting down here. They would be up here third partying as well. So they think they can get in on the action, but it quiets down. They go, oh, wait, it's open here. And then they play that area instead. At least that's how I math it out. Desperados try to push in from the south. Tumble and Calvin stops the scout further forward. Sees that is open. Ratio edge, they go all the way around as well. And they end up running into each other. Horrible place to be forced to take a fight. Because, I mean, you never want to sit in here without control of just one guy. Anywhere. Maybe not there. Anywhere up on the top. You need to have some sort of vision that you don't get hardcore third partied if you're getting a fight down here. So they end up fighting, and as I said, no one is there to cover. Haha! Crow crowd, they grin and go like this. Meh, 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 meh. Third party. So they push over the top. I don't think they end up getting more than 1 or 2 kills off of it. But this becomes a fight to the death for all of the guys down there. New circle pops. And here comes Ents. Full speed forward. Ents just no scouting, no nothing. Says, how about that center position, boys? I don't know how you say that in Finnish. But they sent it forward and they want to obviously contest here. And again, I think they're expecting there to be one team that has this. And they're saying, if we're fast enough, this could be a 4v1 fight if we all commit to the same building. Rostanma goes down, Mikas goes down, one goes down, all dead. Clearly not what they were expecting to run into in that situation. Gamer Legion, they've tried to push out. They go run into NIP on the eastern side. It becomes a hell of a fight for them as well. In the meantime, DA managed to move around the Liquid team. And this forest, finally G2 their home. They've been wanting to get to this forest for a long time. Nelos on the other hand, he's caught in the shack. He's not ever gonna get out of there. N47 playing on the eastern side. This is just, I mean, everybody. This is like a Sanhok area, just with less cover. This is a horrible area if you're this many teams in. You cannot do anything. And odds are that you get third party immediately if you do anything. Simsy tried to be sneaky peeky, had a chance to get a double, but ends up getting shot by Timmy. Great play by him. Circle forces them even further out. Keep in mind that this whole area, we can actually, if we circle this and draw up here, this whole area is open field. And practically a no-go for most part. So there's a lot of this zone that is not really that interesting for teams to go to, which means that anyone that is up here that would have potentially gone something like this had it been somewhere else, they can only really go inside from here. Not a whole lot more you can do. I mean, of course, 7 can just stay. But everyone's going to be coming in from the north. Crow crowd, they can try to crash something, but they don't have the vehicles anymore. So they're forced to running down on foot. I would have thought they were going to push more this way before the circle started pushing in, but they just took down one player. They actually did have a buggy. So they play the hilltop, hoping that the circle is going to shift down towards them. They sit on the south, try to make sure that nobody is sneaking in towards them. N47, you can see this as soon as they start an engagement. As soon as these two teams starts fighting, DA just comes running. And as soon as DA starts third partying, Liquid comes running. This becomes a bloodbath, and within 2 minutes, 1 minute I even think, we lose like 11 players. So Liquid, they disengage, they say there's nothing more for us to come for. Somehow Timmy gets up to that building. He doesn't end up surviving long, but that was very interesting. Noki tries to, well, just play the solo game for as long as he can. So now it's a 4-man stack, 4-man stack, 3-man stack, 4-man stack to finish off the game. Na'Vi knows at this point. Na'Vi knows that they need to make a move from the compound, because if the circle shifts away and they don't have a guy over on the other side already, they're most likely going to be taken down. So Adusi gets sent over, trying to help contain the Liquid team. Circle hard shifts up towards 7. And now Na'Vi, they just have to send it. I mean, there's nothing else they can do. They need to get the hell out of this compound before it's shifted out. And what can you really do in this circle? Like, how many options do you have? That? No. That? No. That? No. We can only go over here. That's the only play they can make. go over here and try to flank it around. Like, just clear this side. Maybe if you go fast enough, you can help fight these guys, but because they know that there's a team somewhere up here, they need to deal with this first. So, Navi, they go over. Liquid, of course, anticipating this. They say there's no reason at all. I mean, James is even, look at this. James is sitting down here. He's helping contain anything that comes in from the side. There's no reason at all once this shift comes. As soon as the circle shifts. Doink. There's no reason at all, if you're 7, to make a push out this way. Not at all. They're just gonna chill. Reciprocity, they can't. They're not really a threat to Liquid as long as Navi is on the south side. So Liquid says, good, we have to focus all our firepower here. Like, we have to stop anything coming up this way. All of Navi, as expected, pushing up here. They're setting up as best as they can. Now they know the push is coming, and look at the third party now. This is honestly, this was perfect timing from Reciprocity. As soon as they hear that first bullet fired, and they, of course they heard all the vehicles coming up too. As soon as they start fighting, Reciprocity knows this is our chance to push. Because Liquid has perfect vision down towards them. And as long as they're occupied with dealing with these guys, they can third party and potentially be the team to flank around in the end. So they start shooting. Reciprocity immediately comes out for the third party. Boom, now the engagement happens. Now we run. In the meantime, 7 don't really do anything. This is, to me, very disappointing. 7 used to be a really aggressive team. They still have their in-game leader alive. But they, I mean, all their aggression, all the aggressive plays they made that was successful, they're just hiding on the backside. They could have gone up. They could have killed Liquid a billion years ago. Now they push. Way too late, but they finally push. That push should have come in when James was standing and shooting. Like, they should have been here by now. But that never happens. So now they push one up, gets one knock, and immediately they run away again. Like, they get a knock, and then they run away rather than going up and killing them. Edelweiss is just holding the angle by himself. But they run away again. Because they're like, oh, we have the circle. Let's just play safe. I think they just really respect Liquid. I don't know. I think that must be the reason. They're afraid to fight Liquid. So they survive. Monkey is by himself. 3 versus 3. Monkey is a solo. Look at how much they allow for them to do. Sadovnik and Buster could have been sitting out here now. But they ran back down towards their compound. EB gets found. Samtits is shot at. He gets taken down as well. So all of a sudden now they know only James is left alive because they saw James go down in the previous fight. Oh, they saw Gemty go down in the previous fight. Now they split out. Good position. They limit Monkey to one small, like teeny tiny position. And instead of playing this one together, normally when you're 3 guys versus 2 solos, which they know they are at this point, at least that's what I assume, you just go 3 guys together, push the side, win the game. But what ends up happening is that Edelweiss takes a complete solo, like you can't see it here, but he's just sitting and peeking, like he's having a 1v1 fight with Monkey, with no way for Sadovnik or Buster to help. Like, there's no way they can do anything. He's having a 1v1 fight. And then James has a situation where he probably should have just kept this M4, but he swaps over to the SLR, and because it makes that animation when you swap your gun, then Monkey spots him. Like, James should have killed Monkey there, but that doesn't end up happening. And you can see, there's never really a situation where these 2 guys are really in control. They just kind of follow along. Now they try pushing together. Oh, okay, no, we go back. He gets him down. Now they peek 1 by 1 again. They should, like, by the time that Monkey stands up as soon as he shoots James. Now they're coming up. Then they have to peek this one together. Like, they have to both pop up at the same time and start shooting. But by the time Buster gets caught out, Sadovnik is behind the tree. He gets taken down afterwards. Monkey wins the game. Very, very intense ending. We can, you know, we'll see that one. That should be all right. One clip shouldn't destroy everything, right? In before I get banned because of it. Watch this.
Win for the peak instead, so I guess he felt he had nothing to lose. Sadovnik and Buster, they have to pair up and they have to move around as a pair. At the moment, they're just checking rocks. They're checking everything. And that's give James. James is he's only ever focused on this way, James. So he must feel that his back or whatever position he's in is safe.
The thing is, it's so open on the west side that he's anticipating him to have to come this side.
Why is
but
the quality
Monkey
so bad?
He's just hogging it, and you can see Sadovnik as well. They're confused because Monkey is not pushing the way they anticipated that he would.
Everyone thought that Monkey was going to push up the side because as you can see here, it's so open, right? It's so open here.
Everyone expects Monkey to push up towards James, but that's not what he's doing.
James has an SLR.
Monkey feels it.
Everyone thinks he's going to come to the tree. That's the only playable thing you have here. Everyone is looking at the tree. Molotov thrown to the
So
tree.
that Molly actually just sort of
Helps him
that
out.
helps James because he's suddenly like.
James has only 29 bullets left, and he wants to keep that for the final fight. I think that's the reason. I didn't talk to him about it, but I think that's the reason. He wants to keep the bullets in his SLR for the final potential 1v2 fight.
He's not on that tree.
Now it's
Spots him. That animation right there, with him swapping the guns around, allows for Monkey to see him.
Sees him. Oh, but Monkey strikes the headshot, gets himself second place for Reciprocity. Can he go further? Gets one. Oh, Reciprocity! Monkey shows the player that. Can he go further? Gets one. Oh, on that tree.
Now he spots him too.
He sees him. Oh, but Monkey
Watch this.
strikes the headshot, gets himself.
Buster's peeking over the top. That has to be him peeking with Sadovnik right next to him. But because Sadovnik decides to run behind the tree, their timing is off. You know what I mean? Actually, this is the type of analysis I would love to do more of. But because Sadovnik spends time running behind the tree and there's a smoke right in front of him so I can't see anything, it becomes impossible for him. Like, he can get these two fights. Also, in all fairness, Sadovnik probably should have had that spray to begin with. But that's the end of the game. And that is also the end of day one. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you next.